Hello students, welcome to our English class. Children, open your English textbook. Today we are going to continue this chapter Pip Meets a Convict, which is written by Charles Dickens. Children, open page number 24. Children, do you remember what we had discussed in our last class? Do you remember the story? Okay, now I'm going to explain in few sentences. You just recall in your mind. Okay, children? Till now we have read that as infant Pip couldn't pronounce his first name as well as his surname. So he called himself Pip to make it short. One day he stood in the churchyard looking at his parents' tombstone and was crying. Suddenly he heard a horrible voice asking him to stop making noises. The man was very frightening, both in his look and behavior. He wore a grey colored dress soaked in mud water from ditches. He had a big iron chain on his legs, as he was an escaped convict and was walking with difficulty. Pip requested in terror not to cut his throat. The convict asked Pip his name and his native place. Pip answered all the questions with fear. Then the man placed Pip on a high tombstone and ate the bread that he got from the Pip's pocket very hungrily. Next, the convict inquired about Pip's parents. Pip timidly pointed to the tombstone and he lives with his sister and his brother in law. Joe Gregory, who is blacksmith. When the convict heard that Pip's brother in law is a blacksmith, he at once asked him to bring a file and some food to him. He threatened him that he will have Pip heart and liver out if he disobeys his words. Children, now let's continue the story. See children, open page number 24, 25. Now we will continue here. I was dreadfully frightened and hoped that he would not drop me. I clung to him with both hands. He gave me a most tremendous dip and roll so that the church jumped over its own weathercock. Then, still holding me up on the tombstone, he went on. Weathercock means it's like a gadget to check the wind. Early tomorrow morning, bring the file and the grub. You bring the lot to me at that old battery. Battery means it's a fort. It's type of building over there. If you do it and you don't say a word about me, I will let you live. If you fail or say anything at all about me, then your heart and your liver shall be torn out, roasted, and eaten. Now I am not alone. There is a young man hiding with me. In comparison with him, I am an angel. Okay, children, now in this paragraph, basically, Pip is telling that he was frightened because of that prisoner. Because he was warning him that he is going to take out his heart and liver and is going to roast it and eat it. And he also warns him that there is another man. Means there's another prisoner with him and is hiding behind battery means fort. Behind fort. He also says, when you compare me to that prisoner, I am an angel. The next para. That young man can hear us now. That young man has a secret way of getting at a boy and at his heart and at his liver. A boy can't hide himself from the young man. A boy may look his door, may be warm in bed, may tuck himself up, may draw the clothes over his head, may think himself comfortable and safe. But that young man will softly creep his way to him and tear him up upon open. Creep means walking slowly. I am keeping that young man from harming you at the present moment with great difficulty. I find it very hard to hold that young man off. You are inside. Now what do you say? I was so frightened, but I said that I would get him the file and I would get him what broken bits of food. I would come to him at the battery early in the morning. So, in the first two paragraphs, the prisoner is basically telling Pip about that man who can find the boy anywhere. He would be even if he is inside his bed and comfortable and safer. And he also tells Pip that young man has hearing him right now and he knows a secret way of getting at the boy. And in this paragraph, Pip says that because of the prisoner, okay, see children, because the prisoner is asking the man to hold back, that is why that man who is hiding is holding back, or he would have harmed him anyways. Because Pip was already frightened, he said that he would do everything that the prisoner is saying early in the morning. Now, let's move back to for reading. Promise on your life, said the man. I promised, and he took me down from the top of the tombstone. Now he went on, remember that promise and remember that young man and get home. Now, in the three lines, the prisoner asked to make a promise on his life that he would bring those things to him tomorrow, and then he also tell him that he has to remember his promise. He has to remember the young man who is hiding and who might harm him, and then he can go home. Good night, sir, I stammered. It is going to be a long night for me, said he. He looked at the cold, wet, flat marsh. I wish I was a frog or an eel. Children, eel means fish. He hugged his shuddering body in both his arms as if to hold himself together and limped towards a low church wall. He got over it slowly, like a man whose legs were numbed and stiff, and then turned round to look for me. When I was him turning, I was frightened again and ran home without stopping. So here Pip said good night, and then of course it was already raining and it was already wet. So the man said that the prisoner was saying that it's going to be a long night for him because it was a cold, wet, flat marsh, right? So in the last paragraph, he tells us that of course it was a wet night. So he was hugging his body because it was very cold. And even he was shivering. He didn't have anything to cover his body. And then he slowly went away behind the church wall. He was limping, means he was walking difficultly. And the Pip was so frightened that he started running. He didn't stop. He didn't even look back. And he was so frightened that he ran home without stopping. So, which is adapted from The Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Okay, this is all about the story, children. Children, please go through this lesson. Thank you.